Hello again. Welcome back to the Flyin Style podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Mitchell, back with my illustrious co-host, the Steven Maslij.
Oh, thank you for an intro, Matthew. I don't deserve all that, but we're back at it again on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon, evening. And the Phillies, good news, are advancing to the NLDS against the Braves.
Red October, baby.
Hell yeah. So that's good news. It just seems like similar vibes as last year. Eagles undefeated. The Phillies are making a little run. So that's nice. It's a nice vibe.
The vibes are up right now. Phillies are winning. I got a nice parlay on them. The Eagles are 4-0. I don't hit parlays very often. It's a fun feeling. There's a lot of good stuff going on in Philly right now. The Flyers are about to start back up, although nobody's really excited about that. And the Sixers are almost back as well. So and not that many people are excited about that either, but they did pick up a little low key pieces here and there that they might have a decent bench this year. They might be able to put something together, but I can't put a lot of hope into that, especially after the Bucks and the Celtics and the Heat, and they. But we're not a Sixers podcast, so let's not worry about that.
Yeah, let's not worry about it. We only focus on the best team in Philly at the moment.
That's Sean's business.
But all right, so this upcoming Sunday at 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Eagles are taking on the LA Rams in LA. The line for the game is 4.5 toward the Eagles. Over under is set at 50, so Vegas thinks it's gonna be a high scoring, close type of game. What are your initial thoughts going into this game, and how do you see this game going?
It's a bit of a scary game, only because they are the kind of team that can hang with anybody, but they're not someone that you get scared of because they're not super flashy or anything. They kind of just do their job. They score a lot of touchdowns. They get a lot of yards, but they're kind of an iffy team this year. They are 2-2, and they've had some interesting games. They lost 13-30 against the Seahawks, but then played a really close game against the 49ers in a 30-23 game, which they lost.
No, they won 30-30.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. I'm so sorry. So yeah, they beat the Seahawks 30-13, which is Seahawks are, not a great team, but they're a playoff level team usually.
In Seattle's hard too.
Exactly. So yeah, 49ers, they kept it close, 30-23. 49ers are, up there with us as the best team in the league. And as much as I hate to admit it, they're probably a little over us right now. We've obviously still got some things to clean up. And then they lost to the Bengals 19-16, which I find interesting because the Bengals, as most people know, have been playing pretty terrible this year. Obviously, they still have talent over there. Joe Burrow's been playing a little hurt, but I don't really consider the Bengals a good team right now. So losing to them in a hard-fought 19-16 is, gives them a little bit of a downturn. And then they won last week against the Colts in overtime, 29-23, which I don't really think the Colts are a great team either, but I suppose they've been hanging in with teams all year. They've been definitely scrappy, so I guess I shouldn't count the Colts out.
I mean, in that game too, the Rams were up 20-0 at halftime, if you don't remember, and that game went to overtime with Stafford hobbling on. I guess he hurt his hip or something, but he looked uncomfortable in the last drive, but let him down the field. So I mean, it's been, like you said, it's all been close games, and it kind of scares me a little bit.
They're an interesting team that's hard to get a gauge on right now. You can't really tell how good or bad they are.
What's your thoughts if Cooper Kupp, he's still not 100% playing, but he's coming off the IR, has been at practice this week. Him coming back and playing this game.
I'm not going to lie to you. This is probably the only time I'll say it, but it doesn't really worry me because obviously he's coming off IR with a hamstring injury, right? I don't think he's going to get full snap counts. I don't think he's going to be 100% out there. I just don't expect to see, prime Cooper Kupp going out there and just tearing us apart. He might, I can't confirm this. I'm not going to say this for certain, but because Cooper Kupp is obviously an outstanding player and has led the league in receiving yards and broken the single season receiving record. Dude's a beast, but I don't expect to see the same Cooper Kupp, at least against us this week. I think it's a little soon with him coming off injury, and I think the person to really be worried about is Puka Nacua at the moment. Their two guys, Puka Nacua and Kyren Williams, have really been producing for them in the pass game and the run game. Kyren Williams has a little less rushing yards than DeAndre Swift, but he does have 3 more touchdowns. So he's definitely going to be getting the ball close to the goal line. Expect that from them. And it's going to be an interesting game. And I would like to think that our vets can shut down their young rookie guys that are, producing right now. But Kyren Williams isn't a rookie, is he?
He is not. He was there last year.
So yeah, I can't say I'm too worried about Cooper Kupp. I can always be a little worried about Stafford because the dude can just sling it. I don't think he's in his prime anymore either, but he can still throw the ball. He's throwing for 1,200 yards this year. 1,229. So yeah, he's gonna, especially with the way our defense has been playing lately, the way that Sean Desai likes to run that soft freaking zone and just give up yards, bend not break. He's gonna tear us apart a little bit. I actually very much expect that. I am just a little hopeful that Sean Desai can game plan well against him, but based on what I've seen, I'm honestly not expecting it. So,
do you think that the signing of Bradley Roby helps the Eagles at all? Him playing slot corner?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that gives you an opportunity to take Job off the field. As we've seen, Job has been very picked on and targeted since his time on the playing field, and he's not, a backup cornerback is a backup cornerback. It's the hardest position on the field. If you're not a starter, you're probably not really that good at it. Like, plain and simple. I'm not, and I shouldn't say that because I'm a couch warrior sitting over here talking about an NFL player. Mm-hmm. When I say not good, I mean not good, not starting caliber. Not top tier play from a cornerback in the NFL. He's okay. He's just at an okay level compared to everybody else out there. And I think that Roby is a veteran. He's been in the league for a while. He's been on the Eagles before. And I think it's nice that we can get him in here. And he's a slot corner specifically, so you can move Bradbury and Slay and keep them on the outsides and just have Roby, do his thing in the middle. And I think it's definitely going to at least give depth if he doesn't have a big role right away.
Yeah, no, I definitely like it. I definitely cannot complain about it. The only thing I am nervous about which is just so absurd to say because I said the exact opposite thing for Slay, is that he is 31 and he's getting up there in age, but
don't think about it like that though, because he's not a long-term option or anything here. He's just
that's true. I know. I just don't know if his peak has. I haven't seen him. I don't even remember him on the Saints at all this year. But I also haven't watched a ton of Saints games either. But on the other side of the ball, the Rams do have one very scary player, which might be the best D lineman in the entire league, and that guy's name is Aaron Donald.
Who?
And it's not Jalen Carter. It's Aaron Donald.
The lesser version of Jalen Carter, of course.
I mean, he might be one.
Don't hold me to that. Don't clip that, please. I'm just kidding. Maybe one day. But
either way, it's just this guy is a guy that you have to game plan around in any circumstance. You cannot take him 1-on-1. Even with our great O line, it just doesn't happen. There has to be chips. There has to be double teams. There has to be. It just this man is an absolute beast. He's getting there's clips even from this year of him getting triple teamed, and it's just like he just sitting there like, what am I supposed to do? It's that's definitely a guy that is a game changing type player. He only has 2.5 sacks on the year so far, which sounds like a great stat, but for him, it's usually already at like 5. But Yeah, other than that, outside on their defense, Jordan Fuller is a decent safety that I see, and I don't know their defense. They don't have too many big names. They lost a lot of guys during free agency last year, especially on their D line with Leonard Floyd. When Von Miller left, I guess that was 2 years ago now, and I don't know. Most of these guys are like not marquee names. But what do you take from that defense, and what do you see as? Do you see anything else that I don't see?
Well, I mean, not really. I'm not going to lie to you. I haven't seen the Rams on the defensive side of the ball this year at all. So I don't have a whole lot to say about them. Like you said, there's definitely not a lot of big names. So I don't think there's a whole lot of stuff to be scared of on that defensive side of the ball, except for Aaron Donald. But I do think that they're going to be a solid defense. I don't think they're going to be, outstanding, but I think that they'll do their job. Seems like a lot of role players kind of bundled together. So I can't say I'm scared of their defense, but the offensive production has been a little iffy from the Eagles side of the ball this year. I know they're getting yards, but they're not producing in opportune times. They don't finish drives all the time. So they've kicked a lot of field goals so far. Shout out to MVP Jake Elliott right now. But yeah, I think that we're going to need to capitalize on their defense for sure, because it's going to be hard to. I think it's going to be difficult holding Matt Stafford, under 300 yards based on the way our secondary has been playing so far. And based on that, I do think that the over in the game is most likely to hit, because not only have the Eagles averaged about 30 points per game, even when they're not playing well, but like I said, I'm expecting pretty much the same thing from the Rams. I do think this is going to be a close game, and I would definitely say pound that over if it were up to me.
Yeah, surprising stat, honestly, in yards per game category. That I mean, they only do have 5 more yards per game than us with 411, but they're second in the league in yards per game, but only 13th in points scored, which with 24.5, and we're at 29.5. But it's they're also a team that doesn't consistently finish drives. If I think if they do have come back, that's a guy that gets a touchdown every week, which is scary. And I know he, like you said before, he'd probably be on limited snaps and everything, but just having him on the field and even just being a guy that's like, even if they use him as a decoy, you still have to be aware of where he is at every single moment. This is the type of game where we should beat this team. It's like one of those. There's no reason we shouldn't. We have a better roster, and we say this a lot. I understand against these mediocre to borderline playoff type teams. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
If not making playoffs. It's just one of those games where we have to fly across the country. I know that LA is notoriously not packing their stadium, and they don't have the greatest home field advantage, but just
I don't know if you remember the last time Philadelphia walked into the Rams stadium, but I believe it was during the Super Bowl year in 2017, and we had a home game in LA, basically. Yeah. I mean, about 80% of the fans in that stadium were Eagles fans, and I'm partially hopeful that we can kind of have the same thing happen again, but hard to say, of course.
No, we definitely travel well, and we definitely have a lot of transplants over there. We're definitely we have an Eagles bar, which is very surprising, like in a lot of states outside Pennsylvania, which is awesome to see. But it's a great fan base overall, and I think we will. I think it will probably be more like the Tampa Bay type game where we do have you'll see a lot of green in the stands. I don't know, man. This game like kind of just scares me. It just feels like a point where we're scraping past. We scrape past the Commanders. We dog the Bucks, but in the New England game, it was a very close game too. I just feel like one of these games, it just we're not dominating other than in the Bucks game, which I thought, but even some people didn't see. Like we're not playing dominant football, and I don't know if this just has any motivation, this game going to LA, seeing a mediocre team is going to give any motivation to step up. What do you think?
It's definitely an interesting take. I mean, they obviously have not dominated anybody, but in the way I've seen the Eagles play so far this year, and what I've seen from them in the past and last year, of course, they tend to play their opponent's level always, at least from what I've watched. And they kind of just do whatever it takes to win, and they don't really care if that's a blowout or if it's a close game. They just do what they need to do to stay in the lead and keep the lead. And I kind of expect to see the same kind of thing, especially in this game, in a game where you've got a quarterback that can throw the ball, you've got a good running back, two good wide receivers. They're going to move the ball, absolutely. But I also have confidence that our offense is going to outscore their defense and, keep the ball rolling. And I just expect us to, keep it carrying. It's an interesting season this year because the way our schedule works is our schedule kind of gradually gets harder throughout the season. Each week we tend to get a slightly harder team almost for the whole year. So, this is our a bit of a middle tier team. We're getting there. I think our first big opponent, I want to say, is the Dolphins, but which is a few weeks from now. But I don't know. The Eagles are definitely a hard team to give a great take on right now because they aren't dominating the football, but at the same time they kind of are. And I don't really know how to grasp it right because you can obviously tell that they're not clicking on all cylinders, like no doubt. But at the same time, without clicking on all cylinders, they are averaging 30 points per game and like almost 400 yards of offense per game. So, and not to mention the defense, I know they're letting up a lot of yards and a pretty decent amount of points as well. But I don't know. They're kind of a bend, don't break kind of defense where they don't let up big plays. They kind of just let them move down the field. And I don't think that's a good thing. It drives me nuts. But at the same time, I think it gives us a good chance of, just staying in the lead no matter what the game looks like. So I don't know. This is a tough one. I don't want to keep rambling on, so I'm going to ask you, what do you think the final score of this game is going to be?
I think it's going to be 31-28. I think we lose this game. I think even if I don't know if it'll even get that high. It'll be a very close game. And I think that our problem is what you just mentioned is going to be our secondary not getting back the ball. This Rams team is that type of team that's just going to piss and annoy you. They're going to run it for 2 yards, and then they're going to come across the middle, get a 7-yard gain for first down, and they keep time of possession. Like they're fifth in the league in time of possession. They're a type of team that just like if we've been playing in the secondary, especially how we've been all season, I think we lose this game. I don't have any problem with our offense at all. I think we're going to move the ball on them. It just going to come down to who gets the ball last type game. And if that's how we're going to play, I don't think we can't be like that all year. It's going to all come down to our secondary. And our secondary has shown me that they're confused and that they're a little bit mismanaged in a lot of areas, especially over top of safety and then linebacking core. I think if we do that against a guy like Stafford, that he's going to pick us apart, especially if we play a soft zone, and he'll take what he can get because Stafford is that type of guy. If he doesn't care. That's why Puka's so good, or his stats are so good, and he has been really good this year. But Stafford will go back to back to the guy. If he's getting open, he'll take the 5 yards. Like it doesn't matter to him, and that's the type of thing that our defense hasn't shown that we want. We're trying to guard the big play. We're trying to do this. Stafford will take that every single time, and he's shown it over and over and over throughout his entire career. Like he knows, and that's the thing that I see us losing this game. Not because we came with the ball on offense, but just because they have it too much, and that's the reason we lost last year to the Commanders in the run game with our run defense. And it didn't get fixed till it was proven that we could lose that way. And I think this might be an eye opener to the secondary. If they don't change something before this game, I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
All right, I definitely agree with you. I do think that they have a lot to clean up out there. They definitely have a lot of communication issues in the secondary, and I do think that Stafford is going to pick them apart a little bit. But like I said, I think that they're going to do a good job of keeping them out of the end zone, at least enough to let our offense get some scores in. I do agree that I don't think this is something that's going to be sustainable the whole season, especially if they stay at the same level. There's a part of me that may be being over-optimistic as a fan that expects them to kind of adjust to their opponent's level and play a similar style of game no matter how hard the opponent is. You know, like I could see the same kind of thing happening in a 49ers Chiefs game, Bills, who else we're going to play, Dolphins. I can see the same kind of things where it's going to be a close game throughout, but we'll stay just a little bit ahead. And maybe that's just me being optimistic. But with that being said, I think I'm going to say my final score for this game. And like I said, I expect the over to hit. And maybe being really bold with this, but I'm going to say 38-31 Eagles.
Okay. I like it. Do like it. I hope if we can limit them under 24 points, I think we win this game. I think we're going to move the ball pretty well.
There was a big part of me that wanted to say 28. But I do think that they're going to score pretty, I think they're going to score. I do. I'm just hoping we can keep them out of the end zone one or two times more than they can do for us.
It's just annoying, Matt. I just don't like. I don't know. Maybe I'm just seeing it differently, and I just want us. I think this is where the negativity of Philly, which I haven't actually bought into at all, but in this situation with this type of team that's meh, average, meh, like straight across the line as a team as a whole, like will beat you if you play like if you don't play your best ball. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can't disagree. They're a team with all the tools capable of beating you at any time, but they're not a great team. So obviously we should beat them. This is going to be a close game. I don't expect it to be a blowout, but considering the fact that we think it's going to be so close, I wouldn't be surprised if it was at this point. But I feel like the Eagles would just be the type of team to come out and surprise us and just absolutely blow this team out, and then come out next week against a bad team and just play like dog crap again. But who do we play next week?
The Jets, actually. So you actually put it exactly probably what's going to happen.
So I feel like I'm speaking this into existence at this point. But because I could totally see the Jets keeping us in a close game too.
For no freaking reason. And I'm going to say we're going to split them.
But yeah, all right. So my final score, I've got 38-31. You had 31-28 for the Rams. Hopefully my prediction's a little more accurate, but we're just going to have to wait and see. It's definitely going to be a close one.
I hope we win.
Yeah. But thank you guys for tuning in. This has been another good episode. I'm glad we could get another one out to you this week. Get back on track with you guys. So obviously Sunday at 4:05 is going to be the game, and we'll be back to you next week with another breakdown of this game and the next week's Jets game. So please like and subscribe to this video on our channel. We'd really appreciate it. We appreciate you tuning in, of course. And I don't have a whole lot left in my speech here. We're excited about Phillies. We're excited about Eagles. Let's hope we can keep this, excitement train rolling over here in Philly.
Hell yeah.
So go Phils, go Birds, and we will see you guys next week.
Adios.